Hey, Trip Zero here, and today we're gonna go through and let me tidy up a bit. We're gonna create an LED spotlight, grow light, specifically for seedlings, and we're gonna use this, which I got on Amazon for about 20 bucks. 50 watt IP65, so it's basically waterproof. And I've already done a video where I talked about modifying these to turn them into grow lights, but this time I'm going to go walk through, actually do it, and record the whole thing. So take this. Other parts you'll need is, so I've got this. I ordered this on eBay for I believe $9. Let me double check. Yeah, $9, and it's royal blue 455 nanometer 50 watt. So I'll be taking the chip in here and replacing it with this guy. Other things we'll need is I've got a Drock buck converter that we're going to use. I got this on Amazon as well, and 36 volt 2 amp power supply. This is going to be our power for the thing. Of course, we're going to use the buck converter to convert the voltage to what we need for the LED, and then just a DC jack so we can plug it into the adapter, and we'll probably wire this onto the end here. Just for disclosure purposes, I should say, I did plug this in before I've done anything to it, and I couldn't get it to light up. Not sure why. Maybe I already broke it, but at any rate, we're going to take this LED out, we're going to take the power supply out, we're going to put our power supply in, and let's get started. So these are fairly easy to take apart. They're just 4 screws on the top here. And once we get it open, we'll be able to see the power supply inside it. These 4 screws hold on this frame. Now, why would you want, I guess while I'm doing this, we should talk about why anyone would ever want just a blue LED. Well, according to the research I've done, blue is really good for vegetative growth. So I'm going to try, and seedlings, they're very young plants. You don't want them to grow up fast. You don't want them to start flowering and stuff. So I'm going to experiment with just a blue light and see exactly if I can get better growth out of them with the blue light than maybe a mixed red-blue light. So after you get this frame piece off, this just lifts right up. Usually it's kind of stuck on there and you have to kind of pry it. This piece of glass, but this just came right up. And I haven't opened this yet, so this is my first time really going in here for this one. I already have modified 2 of these to be grow lights, and I've used red-blue LEDs with them, and they seem to work all right. Curious that this has only got 2 of the screws using to hold this reflector in. Interesting. So take the reflector off for the power supply and the old LED. Put the reflector down below, and this is, glued on there. We can just peel it off. Ooh, this one actually has a label on it. The last one did not. Last one I took apart did not. So this is supposed to output DC 20 to 38 volts, 50 watts. Interesting. Should be a way to adjust it, but let's see. Anyway, let's just clip it. And we'll desolder this. We can use this LED for another project, if it still works. I'm not sure what about this thing didn't work. Maybe the power supply is bad. I don't know. And we can unscrew the LED, which also oh, no, it's got all four. I take that back. I thought it only had three. I've also ordered a 10 watt 365 nanometer LED. So that's the UVA range. I want to see, I'm going to do some experiments with that as far as plant growth goes. In addition to that, I ordered a 10 watt far red LED, which I think is 740 nanometers. Now, from the research I've done on that, that is what plants need for flowering. Specifically, tomatoes will help tomatoes flower. So this is just, yeah, stuck on some goop. And we'll use some of this. We'll reuse some of that on our new LED. Rub them together. Your friends. Rub them together. Okay. Use that for later. So let's look at this for a second. Up here is positive. This is the positive rail, and this is the negative rail or ground rail. So let's put that on, nice and lined up. Screw it in. So 10 watt far red and UVA. So we know UVB, which is in like the 300 nanometer range, is harmful to plants. UVA though is, I mean, especially 365, that's really close to blue, the visible range. So in theory, like plants that will produce more oil if they're exposed to some UV light, but of course not too much, because that would be bad. So we'll see. I have some lavender seeds I want to plant and maybe see if I, get more aroma out of the ones that are under have some UV light put on them than other ones. So we'll experiment. It'll be fun. So we've got this put on. Let's get our power supply ready. Put that aside for a sec. Now, I've got a little pigtail we use on the input. So it's got a little pot here that you twist to adjust the output voltage. And so we'll hook this up on the input. My little screwdriver. And then before we even hook it up, we'll reduce the output voltage to about 25, 26 volts. Which might be just barely enough to get the light to come on a bit. black ones in. Red in. Looks good. I've got my trusty kilowatt here, so we can look at the DC, how much wattage we're producing. Of course, we won't be producing any watts initially because there's no load. So we'll set that back. Off the get-go, the power supply, 1.8 watts. I don't know if you can see that. 1.8 watts. Power supplies do consume electricity, just doing nothing. It's AC to DC power supplies. Anyway, okay, so we've got that. Let's plug her in. Should get light. You can see the light. Put that little green LEDs on. We'll get our watt, our voltage meter. Probe it. So we can pick the dial. I don't know if that's very viewable. Yeah, I'll put it over here. How's that? Better? Worse? Okay. So 6. We'll just kind of bring that up to about 25. This power supply is rated at 100 watts, so should do fine for this. Oh, yeah, hang on. We'll just have it up. Yeah, this is a really cheap voltmeter, like super cheap. Okay, looks good. So before we let's get some alligator clips and see if we can get the thing to light up. If I can even find my alligator clips. Which it doesn't look like I can. But I did find some red and black wire. Plug some power. Strip these real quick. This is probably what we'll use. Tin. Turn this up. Once upon a time I had a helping hand. and then kids happened and the helping hand disappeared. Everybody knows what that's like though, right? Wires in here. Now the let's see if I can look up the forward voltage on the 50 watts is rated at 30 volts, 30 to 36, which seems to be pretty common for the 50 watt, even 30 watt up to 100 watt. That's really what I expect to see. So let's put this upside down just for now, make sure our lines aren't crossed, and we'll tin these. Perfect. Had to pause briefly. There was somebody at the door. All right, we've got this hooked up, soldered up. So let's. Ooh, that's interesting. I don't know if you see that, but it's just. It's kind of flickering. Oh, that's interesting. That's kind of cool. All right, let's get this set up where we can somehow adjust the output. Without blowing ourselves up. Looks good. So right now it's reading 2 watts. Move this over, we can watch it go up. Is that visible? And we get a solid blue, 2.8 watts. So we'll just slowly twist this up in voltage until we get close to 50, maybe around 40. And at this point, we're at 9 watts and it's getting really bright. So I'm going to put I'm going to put this over it. A piece of acrylic, semi-transparent acrylic, so I don't blind myself. So 10 watts. That's still really bright, even with the acrylic. Oh boy. So 27 watts. 30. I have to move it slower and slower as I go because we're at 40. And I'll dial this up to about 45. And that as it heats up, it's actually going to consume more. So 46. I don't know. You probably can't even see that anymore. It's 47. Yeah, it's hard to see. 48. And we're going to have to dial it back. 50. Alright, we're at 42 again. Just slowly ease it forward. $48. 49. 49.9, 50. A little bit back. 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 52. Alright, back to 48. 49. And this is kind of the long process. We could probably set it, dial it down quite a bit and then just take a guess. But I like to get it nice and warm. Make sure that I'm not going over its advertised output. 48. $49. 50. Back down 49. It's kind of hovering there. But it does look like it's still climbing. I think we're pretty close though. $47. And it actually doesn't look like it's climbing anymore. Probably good. Alright, we'll call it good at 47. just check the output voltage real quick. Make sure we are within specification. 29. So we're about 30 volts. This is right at the low end of the volt. It's about right where it should be. All right, let's plug that. That was bright. Oh boy. Pause it for a sec so I could find my standoffs. I've got some bronze standoffs that we need to stand this power supply up with this so that we don't short circuit the bottom. So we'll just use some epoxy to keep it in place. We're almost done, so I think this might be less than half an hour. We will remove this pigtail because we will not need it. A lot of these, so you notice it's got this, the yellow one is kind of like glued. Let's see, this yellow wire, which is labeled, oh interesting, so it's got an L and an N. I don't know, what does that mean? It's got the kind of a groundish symbol right there on the plug. L.
Daddy, I'm bored. You always playing Pampers.
Brief interruption there. No, don't need those terribly tight, but a little bit. Probably about right there. So this is just grounded. We'll use blue and brown as our wires. So at the other end, I'll just clip off the yellow because we're not going to use it.
He played Plants vs. Zombies, and now it's my turn to play. He played already.
Which one should we use as ground and which one should we use as our live wire? Don't know. Let's see. Let's say blue is ground. I really don't like the colors, but it is what it is. So blues are plus 36 volts and brown, right? We should really actually tin these real quick. Blue is ground. Brown is... Oh, that was not a good tin. Let's do better. Good. Gorilla Glue Epoxy. Gorilla Epoxy. Just need a little bit. Okay, good and mixed up. And we'll just kind of spackle this around the feet. Just glob. Okay, that'll be perfect. Now, for the last part, we will solder on our DC jack. Find some heat shrink that I know will fit. Okay, this will be good. These wires are already tinned, so let's just tin our jack, our female jack. So the middle pin is always positive, and this pin coming out the side is attached to the center pin. So that'll be our positive. Let's tin the ends of this. And then the ground one is the one, it's not this one, it's this one. They're pretty close to each other. This one goes way farther up. I also got these on Amazon. They shipped from China and took forever to get here, but they're here. Okay. Our positive was ground, or our blue was ground. Let's make sure we got that in the right place. And then solder that up. I don't like how that bends up. Ooh. Some people are really good at this type of thing. I probably not as good as I like to be. Just fat-fingered. And I would like a little more solder on that. Dexterity is less than ideal. That's good. I am being called for. See if I can get this before.
Dad, Ryan won't get out because
Interruptions. You just live with them, right? No problem. So I've attached, got these soldered, attached the heat sink. We're gonna blow them. Get and over the top of both of them, we'll put this larger piece of heat shrink. Push that all the way through.
Daddy!
That's that. Okay, let's plug it in, test it real quick, make sure that we got everything squared away. And whoa, big bright light. Okay, looks good. Kilowatts saying 28 and climbing. So hopefully I'll climb back up to the 47 that we saw early, right before that. So let's put this thing together and we'll be all done. Oh, actually, let's plug this back in. I want to get a temperature reading. So I've got this that you can't read because it's this infrared temperature sensor. It's made by Newbie, and it's pretty cheap, and it has like a laser thing on it. I don't know if you can see the laser. Yeah, you can see it. 80 on that metal. We're getting 90, 9900. So again, pretty warm. About 32 watts. 120. Yeah, this will get pretty warm. Alright, anyway. That's why it's got a nice thick back to it with fins. Keep this thing cool. So I think the reason why the original power supply wasn't working is because I thought this yellow one, I thought this was live or the N meant neutral. I didn't even see the other side that said L. But apparently it's ground, it's earth. So I had that totally hooked up wrong. So yeah, all right. That thing back on. I usually see these with one of the wires kind of screwed in there. Loosen this up a bit and make sure it's nice and straight. So next up, I want to do a build of a controller for these. So I've got, this is my third one. I want to kind of build a controller that will support all of them. So that'll be in my, I think that'll be in my next build video. We'll see. So the idea, it will be you have an input. This one's the 36 watt. I think my other ones are only have a 36 volts, sorry. Have a 24 volt adapter. The idea is you plug the power in one end and have a jack that comes out the other end for you to plug in the light, and you can support up to 3, 4, 5 lights, and then a microcontroller to control all of them independently, which would be pretty cool. All right, that's that. So with that, 50 watt blue, royal blue grow light. Cheers. Trip Zero out.